Can you please confirm if I am audible? Okay, okay, fine. Okay, thank you. Yeah. I think let's just get started. Okay. Uh, okay. So yeah. So hello everyone. Welcome to this problem solving session. So we are in the week 7. So we will solve the problem set for week 7. This is the previous year problem set for week 7. Okay. So, do you have any doubt up to the content till now? If you can have any doubt, then you can ask. I'll wait for some time. Okay. If there is no doubt, then let's just move forward. If you have any doubt or any confusion in between, then you can ask that time. And you can raise the your hand, like you can just turn on your mic and start speaking. As we don't have many number of students, so it will not be a problem to if you can just turn on your mic and start asking questions. Okay, so let's start. So this week, the mostly content covered in the related to ballistic channel resistance and other mobilities and resistance for the ballistic 2D transistors. So basically, we will solve the problem related to these concepts in this class. Okay, so the first problem is given a two-terminal device with the ballistic channel. The resistance is given in this 1.5 kilo ohm is connected to 2 volt source. The average power dissipated at the drain channel interface is how much? Okay. So as sir has discussed in the class, suppose you have this source, channel and drain, then uh, there will be a Fermi level corresponding to this. There will be the Fermi level corresponding to the source region and the Fermi level in the drain region. And as we apply the bias on this structure, if we apply the bias on drain side, then the Fermi level at the drain side is pulled down by that bias amount. Okay. So now the main question is how the Fermi level will behave in the in the channel region. So as we have derived the in the very few earlier lectures, the average number of electrons or number of carriers in the channel region is basically just of density of state multiplied by F1 plus F2 times 2, F1 F2 by 2 multiplied by dE, and this you will integrate for all the energy. So this is the Fermi level for channel. So this is known the channel Fermi level. As we can see, this is the mean of the both channel in the source region and channel in the drain region. Okay. So now as we can see from this, the Fermi level or Fermi potential in the channel region is just average of the Fermi potential at the interface of the source and channel. So whatever the Fermi potential here and whatever the Fermi potential here, the channel for potential will be constant. For 2D ballistic uh, channel, this Fermi level will be midway between this. So now now as we apply the bias, so as the Fermi level is constant in the channel, there won't be any drop in the channel region. The only drop will be at the interface. Sorry. uh, yeah, the only drop will be at the interface between this source and drain channel and uh, channel and drain interface. Okay. So if this is in just middle of this channel, then half of the voltage will drop at this interface and half of the voltage will drop at the other side of interface, and our power 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 dissipated at the total power dissipated will be same as as V square by R. Okay, so total power dissipated will be equals to V square by R. So if we apply the so if we calculate by this formula, so if we calculate 2.5 square by 1.5 kilo ohm, so if this will be equals to the 6.25 divided by 1.5, and that will be equals to around uh, uh, that will be comes around this 2.008 milliwatt. Okay, if you solve this, so uh, just wait. Yeah, V square by average power if we take, then we need to divide by half also. So it will be around no it will be around 2.0 watt milliwatt if you calculate exactly by calculator. So is there any doubt in this? Okay, okay, fine, okay. So if there is no doubt in this problem, so let's move to next problem. So this problem is basically related to how the confinement lead changes your the number of electrons in the channel. So basically in this case, consider a realistic 2D conductor at extremely low temperature, where the carriers are confined in z direction, are free to move in xy direction. It has two bound state E1 and E2. The Fermi level uh, the Fermi level EF is 500 milli electron volt for the channel. Given the E1 is 100 milli electron volt and E2 is 4 times E1, and density of state for channel is 2.1 into 10 to the power 14. So we need to calculate what is the number of electrons in the uh, in the 2D channel 2D density in this 2D electron. Basically from the density of state we need to calculate what is the equivalent equilibrium number of electrons available in the band. Okay, so now what happens if you so as we have discussed in in the 1D potential well. So when we uh, when we solve the case for 1D potential well, just wait a minute. When we solve the case for 1D potential well, our the so in case of 1D confinement, the channel energy levels for En was proportional to uh, proportional to uh, n square pi square h bar square by uh, uh, 2 m star t square. Okay, so this this was our solution for the 1D case. But in case of the 2D confinement, if we consider the a block of material which has confinement in one direction, suppose let this is the 2D piece of semiconductor, and this is confined in one direction. So so the electrons will be fully free in this direction. So in this plane of this this plane the electron will be free, and in this direction the electron will be confined. So the total energy in case of the total energy E will be Ex by plus E of t. So the total energy due to this confinement plus x by. Okay, so now if we calculate uh, that uh, uh, total so if we calculate this then we need to take accounts of the and the total number of electrons. Basically the number of electrons Ne is basically density of state Ge multiplied by f of E times dE, and you integrate this from 0 to infinity. so all energy we need to integrate, but we need to let's see what is the nature of this Fermi function. Okay, so now as we have given that this is extremely low temperature, so we can assume this to be nearly at the zero temperature, and we are given as the E1 is 100 milli electron volts, so this electron energy is 100 milli electron volts, and E2 is 4 E1. Okay, so this is 400 electron volts, 400 milli electron volts, and we are given EF as 500 milli electron volt. Okay, so now this EF is here. So now to calculate the this Fermi sorry, yeah, to calculate this this we need to calculate this area plus this area. Okay, so now since two levels, so below the Fermi level two energy levels are bound, so we need to calculate the area between those two levels. So if we calculate this distance, so how much is this distance? So now n multiply by the number of this number of the density of states. Okay, so now if we calculate those, so that will come around, so if we now in this case the number of subband, so number of subbands to be calculated is basically in the case of 2D, so this will come out as uh, sum over all the values, uh, then uh, 2m star exponential of EF minus EI, so whatever this number of bands available subbands are there, then divide by pi h bar star. So if you solve this, if you put the value of all this function, then you will find that this second answer is the correct answer. Okay, so is there any doubt related to this?
Sir, W,
Which W?
the Valley degeneracy into root over 2m star.
Yeah. So Valley degeneracy you can assume it as a 1. Okay. So in this case you can assume, because because this is a hypothetical case, you can take the Valley degeneracy as a 1.
Sir, can you tell me, so what is Valley degeneracy?
Okay. So basically the just wait. No. Yeah. So basically yes. So, sorry, I think no. You in this case you can't take Valley degeneracy as 1, because see, like this integral you need to perform multiple times. So basically, so when you integrate below EF, then this portion is counted double. So that will counted as a Valley degeneracy. Okay. So this area you need to take two times, so that will contribute to Valley degeneracy in case of two like uh, 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 two, because we have two levels, then you need to take the two this area you need to calculate twice. Okay, so this area you will take this multiply by this area in twice. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, sir. Overlapping,
Yeah,
basically.
over basically you need to count for the overlapping. Okay, so let's move to next problem. You solve it, and next time if you don't reach to the correct answer, then please let me know. Yeah. Okay, for a 2D channel, so next problem talks about, for a 2D channel, the diffusive transport case at temperature T very large than 0, choose the correct statement for the conductance of the channel. Okay. So basically in the diffusive transport case, so basically so if we write the conductance, so basically if we write the generalized conductance, so G will be equals to G of diffusive will be equals to 2q by h 2q square by h integral over Te times uh, me times minus minus df over de times de. Okay, so this is our uh, uh, generalized conductance. And this, if we, as we have derived in, as sir have derived in the class, that this if you consider for the diffusive case, if you put the value of this Te and Me, then you will reach out at this expression. This will be multiplied by W by L. So this will be equals to the W by L 2q square by h, uh, a average value of uh, mean free path, then average value of 2D uh, number of modes. So basically this the your total conductance will be proportional to the your mean free path and the number of modes, average number of modes. So conductance is proportional to the average number of modes in the Fermi window, and this Fermi window also we need to take account. So basically only the where this product is significant, there only you need to take account of the conductance. And this whatever the shape of this Fermi window, there uh, you need to take account of the do the accounting. Okay, so this first option will be correct. The conductance is proportional to the average number of electrons, average number of modes of electron having an average mean free path. No. And uh, the conductance is proportional to average mean free path of the electrons. Average mean free path is this: electrons in the mode in the modes in the Fermi electrons in the mode, all the modes whatever you talks about is will be in the Fermi window only. So whenever you talks about like this, the near about this df over de near this ef is basically your Fermi window. So basically you need to take care of all this Fermi window also into account. So and the third is the conductance is proportional to the average mean free path of the electron, but not all the all not everywhere within this mean free window only applicable. There you need to take all the this mean free path and the conductance number of modes. Okay, so is that clear? So the correct answer will be, I think, first, and uh, the correct answer will be third. Yeah. So yeah. So now I think first and third will be the correct. Okay. Is there any doubt in this? Okay. So okay. So if there is no doubt in the previous problem, let's move to next problem. So in the 2D ballistic channel, the confinement leads to formation of discrete energy. So I equals to 1, 2, 3, 4 at t equals to 0. Calculate the number of modes in this channel given by EF is equals to E4. Uh, Assume EC as 0. So basically your conductance will be uh, in the 2D channel. So if we take so when you do the 2D confinement, so there will be a discrete state in the one of the direction. So that you, if you call as a E1, E2, E3, E4. So the Fermi level is given at E4, and then you need to take account of the uh, 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 you need to sum up all the energy. Then you need to so to calculate the number of modes, you need to just wait a minute. So basically, yeah. So to calculate the number of modes, basically uh, number of mode will be independent of this. EF is given by this. Then total number of whatever the number of electron below this level only we need to consider. Otherwise, then we can take uh, so uh, so in the 2D case of channel, this total number of mode will come as m m of E will be equals to W times m of 2D E, which will be equals to n equals to 1 to n valley degeneracy multiplied by 2m star E minus uh, uh, energy eigenvalue divided by pi h star. So E is basically our EF. So we can, and if we take valley degeneracy as 1, then then we will reach to this third problem. Okay. So is that correct? Is that fine? This is because uh, we have placed our valley degeneracy right at the fourth level. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 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 So if yeah, so a PMOS has a body. So next problem, if we move. So a PMOS has a body made of. Uh, so uh, so like how we will quantify. Uh, so let me give you brief overview about the MOSFET. So these things. So the ideology, the terminology PMOS uh, and NMOS is basically uh, NMOS is basically the signifies like what is the majority carrier of the your conducting electrons, or what are the majority carriers in the channel which are taking parts in the conduction. Okay, so now let's find out. So what we will do in the MOSFET. So basically our this gate is there. So and this source is there, drain is there, and this gate we apply a positive voltage. So what will happen? So this source junction is there are two kind of MOSFET. So one is NMOS. So in NMOS basically this source this the conduction to should take place between this barrier. Okay, from here to here. It will not take from some other path. It will directly take just below the gate. Okay, so basically our gate will turn on, will invert the surface potential near to this the interface, and there only this inversion will take place. Okay, so otherwise if we don't apply the gate bias, if we draw the band diagram across this layer, then it will be look like this. So it will be in the source region, this so the if we draw the band diagram across this layer, this cut line. So this source is our n side. So this is our n side. So the if we draw the equilibrium band diagram, suppose the conduction is not taking place, then our Fermi level will be constant. Okay, throughout the channel. We are assuming that transport is not taking place. Now in the source side, the this is n plus type in the PMOS, and this is n plus type uh, in the NMOS case. So this is closer to the conduction band. This is closer to the conduction band, and this channel is p type in the NMOS case. So this will be the Fermi level will be away from the conduction band in the channel region. This barrier is formed, so this electron will feel this barrier, so they won't cross without. If we don't reduce this barrier, they won't cross this barrier, then conduction will not take place if we don't apply the gate bias. Sorry. So in case of NMOS, uh, NMOS, this barrier will be formed only when this the channel is at the higher surface potential than the source region. So that is only possible if we use the p type as a substrate. So if the substrate is n type or less n type, then the barrier will not be high, then our like the transistor won't turn off. Okay, so in NMOS case the channel is p type. Similarly, for PMOS case, PMOS case, the source drain region will be doped as a P type. This will be the P type, and this will be N type. So the band diagram, if you draw the same band diagram, then it will look like this. So from here, this is our conduction band as valence band. Then from here to here, the holes will feel the barrier. So this if we uh, draw the top of the valence band diagram, these holes feel a barrier to go to this side, then this they will block the channel. So our channel will be a p type. Okay, so and the in case of PMOS, our the majority carrier will be the holes. Okay, here the holes will be there, here the electrons will be there. And for to invert this channel, basically this barrier is up. So if to to reduce this barrier, so to to reduce this barrier, you need to pull this band up. So you need to apply the negative band voltage. As you have seen in the previous case, when you apply the positive voltage, the electronic energy will reduce, and as you apply the negative voltage, electronic energy will increase. So to turn on this device, you need to apply a negative gate voltage. To turn on this device, you need to apply a positive voltage. Okay, so the correct answer will be so, PMOS has a body made of N-type material, and it has had holes as a majority charges, and channel is formed when negative voltage is applied. Is there any confusion in this? I can go more detail, but for now it's not needed in that much detail. Uh, whole detail will be discussed in the subsequent or upcoming lecture. I can go in the more detail, but for the time being, those are not needed actually. So, if you have any specific doubt related to this, then I can talk. Yeah.
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Yeah. So, yeah. So, if we move to the next problem, the conductance in the channel of the bipolar junction. The conductance in the channel of a bipolar junction transistor is controlled by so in the uh, BJT, if you talk about the BJT, then we basically control the channel by injecting the carrier into the base region. Okay, that will go into the emitter side region. So by controlling the carrier injected into the base region, we can control the resistance in the BJT. So the conductance in the channel of the BJT is controlled by the base base voltage or base current in the base current. Basically you need to inject current in the base region, whereas in the field effect transistor it is controlled by the gate voltage. So basically since this is insulated from the channel region, so that this is known as the phenomena of field effect. So basically in the MOSFET this is affected by the field, while in the BJT this is impacted the your conductance in the emitter collector region is controlled by the this base current. Okay, so the correct answer will be third, the base current and the gate voltage. Okay, is there any confusion in this? Oh,
No, sir.
okay, so number of electrons in the Fermi window of a non-degenerate semiconductor is uh, so uh, so basically in case of if you talk about the uh, non-degenerate semiconductor window, so basically you need to take account the two factors also. So in the non-degenerate case of semiconductors, so your this Fermi level EF is quite far away from this conduction band. So it's lying near the middle of the band. So your unoccupied electrons in this will be constant. So in the Fermi window, if you talk about, if you draw the Fermi window, so in the non-degenerate semiconductors, this this Fermi window, uh, uh, the number of electrons in this Fermi window, if you talk about this, this will be large compared to your degenerate semiconductor. Okay, so there the Fermi shape is very sharp, or you can say the density of state there it 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 got increased. So there will be like small number of electrons available in the Fermi window actually. So basically it is the total number of electrons is constant. You need to calculate the density of states of electrons, that once in if the density of a state is higher, then uh, your number of electrons will be less. If your density of states or is large small, then your number of electrons in the Fermi level will be large. Okay, so this answer will be large. So, yeah. So now, is there any confusion in this, or hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. Okay. So, if we move to next problem, so
Sir, density of states, if the density of states is large, then the number of electrons occupied is less.
number uh, basically if you talk about for non-degenerate semiconductor, so if I correctly recall, so yeah. So basically your density of state in the this is related to your curvature valley. So if suppose if you have like this window, if you are talking about, so if your valley is like this, so then you have very small number of electrons within available, a small number of sites within this valley degeneration. And if because this spacing is constant actually, and if you have small number of like density of state curvature like flat or very small curvature, then those number of electrons will be larger actually. Is that clear, or you have confusion?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So consider the following energy expression. So now it is given this. So choose the correct option with respect to the above expression. Okay. So so this total energy is basically equals to Ex plus E by plus Ez. So, uh, so as you can see, this in this, if you talk about in this one direction, so if we expand this expression, so it will be h square na square pi square by t square 2m star t plus uh, h square nb square pi square 2m star t square, okay, plus h square k square by 2m star. So as you can see in this only one direction, this only free electrons expression is there, and other two direction there is a confinement. As you can see the form of the confinement, this is uh, this is as if we confine the electron in one of the directions. So we can see with this expression that it is confined in 2D, two dimension. So one dimension is this side, one dimension is this side, and free in the other direction. Okay, so then you can see like so in case of 2D confinement is there in nanowire kind of transistor, nanowire kind of channel, where the uh, like width or height or width will be confined, while length will be in the free direction. Okay, so we can tell this is the ek relation for quasi 1D conductors. Okay, quasi 1D because this is length may not be infinite. Okay, so this total energy is sum of this free energy plus confined energy. Okay, so is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, so consider the mass with a mobility due to scattering is given by mu diffusion. This at what channel length the apparent mobility of device uh, uh, is given as 125 centimeter square per volt second. Okay, so the apparent mobility basically, so mu apparent mobility you can calculate by the your normal mobility multiply by lambda of E divided by lambda of E plus L. So this is normal scattering mobility. If you calculate in the device, then you need to and the mean free path length is given as 1 nanometer. So this 1 nanometer we place, and 1 nanometer plus L, and this is apparent mobility is 125, and this is 250. So it will be equals to 2 times, and this 1 plus L equals to 2, so L will be equals to 1 nanometer. Okay, so the correct answer will be 1 nanometer. So this is simple. Is that clear?
So 1 nanometer by 1 nanometer plus L plus
Yeah.
250.
Plus two. So apparent mobility is 125. So 1 nanometer divided by 1 nanometer plus L multiply by 250. So this is multiplication. This is multiplication. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So which of so if we move to next problem, which of the following relation correlate to the conductance with the mobility for ballistic channel of length L and having the carrier density uh, ns. So as we have derived uh, in the class, this expression comes independent of this so it will like the in the 2D channel, the ballistic channel of length L, this mobility is not independent of length. So in the case of if you talk about the classical channel, the uh, basically your current is dependent on uh, the conductance or mobility, conductance or resistivity is independent of length. But if we can drive for the 2D in the when we consider the generalized transport, then we this current is independent, this mobility, this conductance is dependent on the length, it's not independent of the length. Okay, so the correct answer is first one. So for detailed derivation, you can refer to the class. I think this class or previous class it was driven properly. So yeah. So is there any confusion related to uh, any problem discussed, or if you have any doubt, then you can ask. So, are there any confusion related to any of the things I discussed or discussed in the previous class?
No, sir. Till that, no doubt, sir.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay. So, I think if you have Kamal, you have any doubt?
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Hi, how are you?
All well.
Okay. So,
Actually,
yeah,
just now, sir, we are doing actually week 8 lecture is somewhat pending, na?
yeah, yeah,
That's
okay.
why completing it because we have to submit assignment tomorrow.
Okay, 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 fine. I think you can, whenever you complete, just ask doubt. Yeah.
Yes, sir, sure.
Okay, okay, fine. I think then we can end this session for today now. Uh,
Yes.
then we'll start next week. Okay. I think now, like after this MOSFET is there, then it will be relatively little bit easy. I won't say much easy because MOSFET also there are number of like this quantum capacitance and other concepts are there. So. Then also it will be interesting, but comparatively more easy because people find MOSFET relatively easier compared to other things.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I think so. If you have any doubt, then I can solve or I can wait also if you can find the doubt. Yeah. Okay, I think if there is no doubt further, then we can end this session. Okay, so we will meet next time, same day. Till then, thank you so much for listening. Uh,
Thank you, sir.
have a nice day. Bye bye.